See, why do you think that the Most High brought me from where He brought me from? Right? And remember, let me remind you guys, right? Let me remind you of why it was so easy for me to come up out of whatever pit, alleged pit that they felt I was in, right? And this is important for you who might feel that you are in a pit, right? You've accepted that you're in a pit. Let me segue real quick. I'll come right back because I'm remembering Dean said something about he was in a meeting and the guy said, do you know that most black men that commit crimes have been without their fathers, right? Don't have a father in the household, right? So I would have said to that man, what is crime as you suppose? Because I believe the preservation of life trumps law. So what is crime as you suppose? See? So as long as they have convinced you that you are indeed a criminal, sometime criminal just because of the color of your skin, and you accepted that, right? Then you will act out its behavior. Do you understand? So the Most High has a plan, right? And I'm going to go back to what I was saying. Why was it so easy? Because I never looked at myself like they looked at me. The weak, right? The weak, the foolish. I never looked at myself like that. Thank God to my father. Rest in peace, Pops. I never looked at myself like that. Even said, from your beginnings, it is the scum of the earth from your beginnings. How you were brought into the world, this is the worst case scenario. I never looked at myself like that, right? So remember I told you guys that the scripture says that, and this is not religion, this is culture, okay? So I want to make sure you understand this is not religion to me, this is culture thinking. Bring your whole mind. So remember I said that God told Abraham that your descendants will go into a foreign country that's not their own, be enslaved there for 400 years and all that, right? So I said, I want you to look at how God is looking at you in whatever condition you're in Europe, around the world, in Americas, wherever, whatever condition that you're looking at yourself in, I want you to pay attention. The Most High said they were descendants there. Your descendants, right? So I said to you guys in one of the classes that I gave, I would have preferred the Most High said, instead of they would be enslaved there, that there are a bunch of hustlers there. I would have preferred that he said there are a bunch of pimps there. Or I would have preferred that there said that they, was some dope dealers there. I would have preferred that than him saying you will be taken to a foreign country that's not your own, being enslaved there. Because the enslavement is the worst case scenario. Being a hustler, way underneath enslavement. Being a gang member, way underneath enslavement. Being a pimp, way underneath enslavement. I would have preferred the Most High said they're going to be taken into a foreign country and be a bunch of hustlers there. I would have preferred that than him saying they would be enslaved there. So he never mentioned anything underneath enslavement because he wanted to cover the worst case scenario that we would be in. So when the Most High is looking at you wherever you are in this world, guess what? He's not looking at a dope dealer. He's not looking at a pimp. He's not looking at a hustler. He never called it that. He's looking at a descendant. So when I looked at myself, I identified myself as a descendant. Right? I identified myself as a descendant. So no matter where I was at the time, it becomes null and void because of my identity that we lack. Knowing, exactly. My identity. Once I was able to identify who I am, then I acted like who I am. Whew. Come on, man. Let me say that again. Once I identified who I am, I then projected and acted like
completely
who I am. You don't know who you are, right? So you are acting like who you are not. That's just how it happens. Go ahead, Dean.
Ask the brothers if they've ever seen one of these great American thieves on TV. So you have the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, that will go into any so-called third world country. America is a third world country, just with first world wrapping paper. So don't ever get that twisted, because you only have to look on any street where you see homeless people and people smoking drugs and robbing each other and killing each other, and people are completely desensitized to know that America or Britain aren't first world countries. They're just third world countries with first world wrapping paper. But when you see one of these third world guys with first world wrapping paper in his suit lying, and they ask him, you gave this loan to a nation, why was the rate, the interest rate, 28%, when the rate to the United States was 1.2% for the same structure of loan? He has no conscience. He will give you all of the eloquent language because he doesn't see himself as a criminal. He does not see himself through your eyes. He sees himself through his eyes. So like Dre said, he's going to project when he sits there, and you're going to say, but you robbed these people. And you guys see it all the time. You see George Bush, you say, but you do know that Saddam had nothing to do with 9/11. Sure. And then you sitting there, how you mean sure? You killed 1 million people. You're talking about Putin is this devil. And you opened up the Iraq war with $1 billion worth of bombs. And you actually called that fireworks show shock and awe. And we sat down and watched it like, whoa, with no account for the loss of human life. Because we all love our babies and we all just want the same thing for our families, which is safety, food, and shelter as a basic. But you watch these criminals, Tony Blair from Britain and George Bush from the States, said, well, it was a mistake. And I'm sorry, but it wasn't. It was a manufactured war. And do you know who they use to implement that manufactured war? The black general, Colin Powell, shaking talcum powder, saying this is ricin. Ricin is not a weapon of mass destruction. All you got to do is get some little seeds and cultivate them for a week. And you can stab a man and he'll die. That's not weapons of mass destruction. You can't take a country that has a 14-year trade embargo and create weapons of mass destruction in a covert scheme. It's not possible. Not with the CIA and their infinite resources. They've had a plane for 50 years that can take a picture of a dime on a sidewalk and tell you which way it's facing. So it's absolutely not possible. And we're not talking about technology of computers and satellites. I'm telling you that is from a plane that flew at a ridiculous amount of miles an hour. They could spend 100 million in bombs to try and take it out of the sky with surface-to-air missiles. They couldn't hit it. And the guy who actually designed that had a Medal of Valor. But because it's covert, they can only release these things after he's dead. And they've actually replaced that plane with something vastly more powerful now. So when this criminal articulates his defense and rebuttals, he doesn't see himself like you see him. He doesn't say that IMF are thieves. He doesn't say that when we create coups in your country and we assassinate your leaders like they did in Haiti last year, he doesn't say those special forces were wrong with the black bag ops. So you want to talk about money like money is important. Maybe you owe somebody 10,000. Cast your mind back to the week before 9/11 and you had Donald Rumsfeld in a Senate hearing and they said, darn it, there is a 3 trillion black hole in the budget. Where's the 3 trillion, my brother?
As Sigmas, we uphold, promote, and preserve our